it's cold in here, but it's heating up in here in the market and on the screen. I don't know what to say. So what I want to get into, I just got rid of my like mat that was like making it easy to roll, and now I have carpet underneath me, which I slightly skeptical, but the mat was a bitch because the mat kept sliding little by little, so it was never centered, and it had those little things in the bottom to hold it in. It was a Gorilla mat. It just didn't work really well for whatever reason. Well, it's okay. I could use it, but then I have to keep recentering it back. It wasn't big enough to put underneath that. It was whatever. So we're gonna try how the rug feels, which doesn't feel bad, to be honest with you, at least for now. But we have a lot of shit going on. We have Bitcoin making moves. We've got silver making absolutely massive moves. We've got gold making moves. We've got a lot of shit making moves. So I figured that we dive into all of it. Let's just start with the S&P though. Boom. So SPY popping up to not a new all-time high, but it's getting close. We go to, let's see, Qs are not there yet either, right? Yeah, just making some little moves. Dow technically hit a new all-time high today, and then the Russell, I think, is down. Yeah, but it's setting up a little bit of a setup for a possible pop for a high there if it can break that consolidation the past couple of days here. Could be interesting, could be juicy. We'll see what happens. The thing that I think was more important was the gold trade from earlier today that I already posted a recap on. That video, I think it should be up already. Gold, daily chart, beauty. Beauty, absolutely beauty. Like, look at her go. New all-time highs. The thing that I was ready for, I've been waiting for patiently, and I want to take it, but it just hasn't really been, I felt like, the timing hasn't been there. It's just like, the setup's got to be there. Like, we got to get it, and just we haven't gotten it. The setup hasn't been there. I can't take it. I can't just blindly do random shit because then I'm reinforcing bad habits. So I'm not doing that. But silver. Oh boy. Look at that bad boy. Look at that. Look at that monster boner candle. Monster. Now, I'm just drawing this as a general, rough 1.5 to 1 risk reward ratio kind of idea. But the reason why is because, as I believe we said in the last couple of videos or streams, 1 try, 2 tries to break the highs of earlier this year that were made back in May. We attempt to do it twice, not once, twice. Can't do it. Failed both times. Third time, is third time a charm? We're going to see. And I will tell you right now, that looks like a freaking charm to me. That big ass boner candle. Now, will it hold? I have no idea. It might not. It might completely reverse next week and just say, suck it. You thought we're breaking out? We're not. It might. It might. However, I've been waiting for the breakout on this. You go to the weekly time frames, beauty. You go to the monthly time frames, not as beautiful, more upper wicks and stuff. But I love the setup. I love it. So I'm in. Did I get a great entry? Not really, because basically, when I say not really, I mean that in the grand scheme of today's candle, but in the grand scheme of the move on the bigger time frames, I don't think it's not going to matter. It's kind of irrelevant. Would I have liked to get in maybe just closer to 33 versus closer to 33.50? Yeah, but I don't think 50 cents is going to matter in the grand scheme. I think this is going to make a big move. We'll see. Could be totally wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Stop under today's low, as today is a 6% plus day. Now, maybe it pulls it back a bit into the close, but here's the weekly chart on silver, hence why I like the idea. I like the setup. We have essentially a bunch of higher lows going up into this area. You have broken out to a new high of the year. You broke above these highs back in here from 2021. Really cool. You go bigger picture, there ain't much. Now you're talking about, okay, highs up around 35, 36, couple upper highs here, and then you're talking about moves into the 40s, and then on all-time highs up here near 50. Now, it'll be crazy, but it has the same vibes, in my view, to silver, back in this period in here. You know what I mean? We kind of have a similar view, similar vibe. So we've seen silver, many years ago, make some big moves, and I'm excited to see if it can do that in the coming weeks. Now, will the election play a role? I don't know. Will it be all prior to the election? Will it wait for the election to make a really big move? Who knows? We're going to find out next week. I think that'll be a good start. We'll see what happens next week and go from there. So that's silver. Bitcoin, on the other hand, I'm like, well, we're waiting for a setup. We are now in range of being interesting for a setup. breaking above volume node, breaking above downtrend. I like what I see. Could it be a fake out? 100%. Totally could. Totally could. But I finally got my setup. So when I see my setup, when all of the criteria is met, and when we have the bigger time frames that look like that, I'm like, let's fucking go. This is beautiful. So I'm going on this one. Both of them, well, not both. This one a little bit of a wider stop. In a perfect world, I would have played stop loss under like right in here. Keep it super tight because I'm playing this on a 4-hour time frame. But I'm going stop loss under this higher low right here just to be safe because, you know, Bitcoin can be a little volatile, a little wicky, and all that stuff. So that's what I'm playing, which then requires Bitcoin to go towards 73K. Just shy of 73K is my target, which, by the way, is not requiring an all-time high. So my plan is, well, the thought process is we're breaking out. Can we get a pop? The next logical spot for the first push of momentum would be that all-time high. So just shy of that is where I'm looking to play. And then could it push through? Yeah, it totally could. So will I scale out? I don't know. The thought process here is take the gains, but I could take half of it off, whatever, move stop to break even, and then go from there. That's kind of the approach. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Let it see what happens. Chances are there's gonna be some pretty big reactions. I would think some big wicks. Maybe not. Maybe it just kind of clears right through. I don't know. But that's kind of my view. So Bitcoin longing and silver long situation going into the weekend, as much as that's not ideal into the weekend. And I don't love making, entering new stuff on Friday. When you're swinging, I don't really care. It's not like I got to worry about this being, Monday morning gap down. No. I mean, chance, obviously it could happen. Bitcoin trades all the time, so no worries there. It'll, whatever happens there, I'll get stopped at my stop level, which is already, I'm already adjusted for that, and I'm willing to take that risk. And then silver, we gap down on the weekend. Okay, we gap down on the weekend, but I would have to gap down like 6% for me to be out, So a lot of range, a lot of leeway. I'm looking for a 10% move from here still on silver. We'll see if that can occur. But that's a big picture swing. And then gold, I'm looking for a test, or something, not gold, Bitcoin looking for a push back up to all-time highs, which really isn't that big of a move from where it's at right now. We're looking for about a 6% move from here. Technically, all-time highs are like 7+% away. But I'm looking for about a 6% move on Bitcoin. Could happen this weekend for all I know. We just don't really see a ton of volume on the weekend. Maybe this weekend that changes. I don't know. So we'll see. Gold and silver crashing crashing it today, yeah. Yeah, that silver move is really, really nice. I mean, now, will that just be kind of like massive boner candle, oh my God, and then just unwind it next week? Maybe. Or is that the start to something bigger? And when you have a massive reaction, a massive day like that, the huge candle that just comes out of nowhere, but like a huge, that's confirming to me the breakout matters. That was a big level. It matters. And if today's candle unwinds, it's a false break. Like then that move is irrelevant. So like my view is under today's lows, if we break below there, that's when the move is no longer valid. So if we get the follow through, great. I would hope to see that it follows through in the coming weeks into the election. Could totally get there next week or the week after that if it has a crazy week, leading up. But then, I'm not opposed to holding it into that time frame. If my, stops are set and take profits are set, just let the chart be the chart instead of thinking about, the election, I'm scared. I just trade the charts. It's just kind of how I like to view it. Obviously, when you're playing individual earnings, there's too much risk to play gap downs and stuff. Yeah, but on stuff like this that trades a good chunk of the time, not a lot to worry about. I think, at least from that perspective. Once you set your stops are set, you're good. You're just chilling. So yeah, so that's what we got. Those two positions. See what happens, I didn't go huge on the Bitcoin one. Personally, I'd like to see it. Well, I'm risking 150 to make 250. And then silver, I'm risking 215 to make 336. A little more on silver. I like that chart better anyway. Bitcoin, the big reason why Bitcoin's a little bit smaller of a position is just I don't know if I trust it. And I wouldn't be surprised for wiki action, especially where we're at. Like Bitcoin has a pretty good history of being a bitch. Like, going for a push and then giving you a massive wick and then going right back, reversing. You know what I mean? Like it's like some of these moves here. You kind of can see these massive wicks. If we get one of those, that obviously goes in my favor, oh, I'm not going to complain. But if we get one that goes against me and then it comes right back and goes to where I thought it was going to go based off the chart, I'll be kind of pissed about that. So I just want to make sure I position a little bit smaller so that I don't have there's more funny business, a higher probability of funny business happening there, and I'd rather not take a huge loss or take a bigger loss than I really want to on something like that. So, not to mention you got to hold. I'm playing these into the weekend. I don't love entering on Fridays, but just how it lines up sometimes. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, on that silver, like that's the thing. Like my view is kind of this, right? If we came in, I'd want to see it kind of if it retests. If it retests, it might not. If it does, I would want to see it kind of retest in here and then hold. If it can't and it comes down to here, then it's like, okay, well that invalidates the breakout anyway to me. Like you can get a little pull. Who knows? Like we might not get that. That's why I just enter on the breakout. I don't really care about pullbacks and stuff because then it's like, well, sometimes they'll pull, like, when do you pick the ones that are going to bounce and versus not bounce? How do you justify that? I just say when the level breaks, I get in and that's it. I thought maybe we'd see a little bit of a pullback into the close. We're not really getting that on silver, but maybe we still got 30 minutes, I guess, but we'll see. Also, oil I thought was notable because oil, I didn't trade this. I was looking at it though. I was like, oh, this could be interesting. This morning we had this big move down in the past couple of days, followed by a nice consolidation, and then followed by now a little bit of a breakdown here. Reason why I didn't trade that, it would fit the criteria. The only reason it wouldn't is, well, this fits the criteria. This bigger picture does not, because this technically all it really could be is just a higher low. I would have wanted to see that consolidation happening like right in here and then breaking this low. Then I would be interested and I would play it. But I'm not playing it here because we could still get this breakdown, give us a little bit of a push, not enough for me to take profits and then bounce right back and then still be within the higher lows of the technical uptrend from higher lows from the past couple of weeks. So that doesn't fit the criteria that I'm looking for. Hence why I didn't play that. But, doesn't look super strong. The S&P, I did not trade this. This is from like a week ago, but could have, right? Back on Friday, about a week ago, you could have totally entered on this candle, could have totally played this. And we did get close to take profit. And then we kind of had these, a little bit of a retest, higher lows, whatever you want to call them. So this trade, this swing trade idea is technically still valid, still going. It still looks pretty good. Will we just get that final? I'm leaving it up there just to kind of see like, oh, would it have worked? I didn't trade it. I opted to not trade that on a Friday. The ones today, I'm opting to trade, because they're bigger levels in my opinion. Well, the S&P was a big level, I guess, right? But these are levels I've been watching for a while. Bitcoin for a long time, breaking out of this range, and then silver for a long time, breaking this high here. So those are spots I'm really excited about for both of those two. And now it's a matter of will it work? If it works, cool. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that's kind of where we're at. I would be interested to see how this all plays out. But Walmart as a stock play is on my list of potential being interested, but hasn't broken out yet. So nothing there. Gil I got yesterday, doesn't do shit, hasn't done shit still. Carvana hasn't done shit. I'm not gonna play that again. The earnings is now getting close. CB, not bad. I didn't play that either, but not bad. Not bad. So kind of a lot of shit going on, I think, today. A lot more movement outside of the overall. Like, if you look outside the S&P, you get movement. Election odds, about 60% Trump, 40% Harris right now. It's kind of the odds, basically, what this is saying. We'll see how this plays out over the weekend. Trump made some more moves again this week, it seemed like, for a big push higher on the odds. We'll see. We will see. I love people who talk about that stuff too, and then they get into the whole like, well, this year there's more closet Trumpers, or this year there's less closet Trumpers. Dude, does anybody fucking know? No one fucking knows. No one knows. And it's kind of irrelevant, I think, until the day is done. I may actually vote this weekend, believe it or not. Could do early voting. I don't know, I might. I have no idea. Only thing that I know what I'm voting on is the election. I'm not sure about like all the sub people from Congress and shit in my like local area. I have no idea. I haven't done any research there. I guess you don't have to vote for that stuff. You could just abstain on those and then just vote in the main election, which I also honestly might do. But potentially could vote this weekend. I was like, imagine if you voted. I was thinking of that too. Imagine if you voted And then I was like, well, if you vote early and then go on one of these sites and make a bet, is that technically insider trading? Obviously, you don't know who's going to win, but like you have a say in it and you voted for something that you could then bet on happening. And you know, well, at least my vote is going towards that person, and now I can bet money, right? Like, isn't that feel a little wrong? It feels a little wrong. Obviously, we know that one vote doesn't really mean shit, but it feels a little wrong. But then you see what Congress does in terms of like their insider trading for like a bunch of stocks and stuff, and you're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. But what would end up happening would be you and I would be the ones get fucked for that. We would get in trouble, yet Congress, who's passing bills for literally companies to thrive or not, can then make some trades, and they're fine. Oh, yeah, that's fine. That is a joke, if you ask me. So, let's see. I mean, we got the silver massive move past a couple hours, crushing. Gold hasn't been as strong, but are as strong behind it, I guess, or like silver is kind of leading the way today. Gold was really strong, relatively speaking. Gold's not bad. It's doing great. I had a trade here. I got out at like 715, or sorry, 2,715 on it. But it just silver moves so much more. And so it seems like right now it's like silver's time to shine. Potentially. Maybe gold's kind of passing the baton. We'll see if that actually ends up panning out. You know, I'd love to see it, but you never know. So that's the kind of the deal. Other than that, oh yeah, Netflix had earnings yesterday. They reacted positively and had a massive day. So this stock was funny. I was trying to play it for a swing trade back when it was like breaking out up in here. And it kind of gave me like, oh, false hope. And then it kind of like never like totally unwound, gave us a little pop. And then it had like 5 days in a row of just getting fucked, which is funny how that pans out. If it just gets wrecked 5 days in a row, leading up to then gapping up massive and going to 765 off earnings. Like that's not surprising to me in the grand scheme because it's just like, that's just how it kind of goes. But check out that chart. Massive, massive move. New all-time highs by a mile now. The prior all-time highs are around 700 back in 2021. And obviously we broke that recently, but now it's like clearing that for like, you know, with room. Nvidia is approaching its all-time high. It's getting very close. Did it make it yesterday? I don't think it did. It got very close. If it did, it tagged it for a second. Apple also is up there. You know, pushing up on this spot. This is an area that I would be interested in trading this. Like I honestly would. The problem is they have earnings in like a week and a half or something. They have earnings on the 31st. So it's like a week and it's like a little bit under 2 weeks, but it's like not worth. I just don't think we're going to be able to get a pop enough for me to play that with earnings that close and then the election that close. Like obviously play the charts, but I just, you know, when we get close to earnings, I just prefer to avoid it. And also my data has told me that we tend to see just like action. You know, it doesn't seem to be great. No, I could be wrong this time, but that's how I'm going to approach it. Prep your hedges. Yeah. I'm very interested to see what happens going into the election if we get substantial pullbacks, and then what the narrative that they try to build off that is, because I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we get some, like we're up at here, we're looking pretty strong right now. Although at the same time, you know, okay, here's SPY. Yeah, I could see it. Qs, you know, we might just be coiling up for, you know, tech hasn't done shit really lately. If this kind of coils up and makes a push, then I can see that on the backside of that, then getting a little more worried or like defensive. IWM, you know, if we break this area right here, I think there's a good shot to go to a high of the year. And then from there, it's like potentially all-time high. It's not that far away. And then the Dow, that's also looking really strong. Wouldn't be surprised for pullbacks at really any point here on the Dow. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get them. 10-year, kind of boring. Now it's kind of doing its consolidation. The dollar it's funny how the dollar was so strong for the past couple weeks. The dollar has a little red day in the grand scheme of this trend, not that much. has a little red day, and then gold and silver say, yeah, we're ripping. Absolute ripping. So I think the question going into the weekend is going to be Bitcoin. Does Bitcoin pump? Is this, are we breaking out here? Are we actually breaking out, or are we going to false break here? A. And then B, into next week, is does the dollar keep rolling over, and do the metals continue to push? And does, I think, silver continue to go on a run, have a massive run? Because I think it's on the verge of, well, this is a big break. I think this is a spot that we can get a big move. How big is it going to be? We'll find out in the next couple weeks. Or does it completely reverse? Like, here's Bitcoin's like weekly chart. Go to the weekly. That looks pretty impressive. And by the way, too, not like we have a ton of volume, but like, I don't know when these weeks end. It says weeks Monday. It has it by Monday. So does it count the volume on Saturday and Sunday? If so, then this weekly candle, by the way, which already is bigger than the past couple of weeks on Bitcoin, is probably set up to be like the biggest we've seen in a little bit, probably biggest since early August, when we had this massive lower wick. So that does look like it's, perking up a little bit there. So if we get, if that's accurate, and the weekly candle includes volume from Saturday and Sunday, then we are already at pretty decent volume with 2 days to go. Now, of course, I don't think you get as much volume on the weekends. Definitely not. You could, but I don't think you're going to. But that's still going to be some volume to play into it, which will make that volume candle a little bit larger, which also makes that more interesting, saying we're breaking on higher volume, which is cool. Dollar dropping, open the floodgates. Yeah, no, and now it's a matter of, does the dollar continue to come down? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my thought. Like, if that's what's happening, maybe that's not. Maybe we're thinking too much. Sometimes we do. But if that is part of it, does the and hey, the dollar's been strong for weeks. The dollar could easily give us a couple of days, and even if it goes higher, like inside of here, does that open the window, like literally, for silver to make a really big move, for gold to keep pushing higher, give us maybe like a parabolic push, and then there's a trade workout, and then maybe we start to see a pullback on the back of the dollar bouncing. Maybe, I don't know. But it's kind of good. I mean, I like that if I care a lot about the dollar, which sometimes, I don't know. I prefer the chart of the actual thing I'm trading versus trying to play correlations and all that stuff. But if this is a big deal, I think this is not a bad time, for the dollar to give us a couple of days of pullback. Maybe a week or two, after it just had a massive multi-week push up, right? So you're kind of playing like, if you were going long, or if you were going short gold and silver right now, and you're betting on the dollar to continue to go higher, I would be skeptical of that approach, because just simply because of how strong it's been. Like, we can easily get a pullback in a couple of days, So given how gold and silver have stayed very, very strong, while the dollar has been strong, any weakness there, it does bode, you would think it bodes well for them, because it seemingly they don't care when the dollar is strong, but now they do care a bit more when the dollar is weak. So it's like, okay. Noted. Look at the, ooh, XLI. That's a little possible little spot right there. So what you do on this situation is, I'd say, okay, well, alert me. I won't trade XLI, probably. But there are stocks inside of XLI that you could look up, which we could do right now. The industrial sector ETF. Let's see what the top holdings are in there. GE, Caterpillar, Uber, RTX. Let's just look at some of those holdings. Let's just look at what those charts look like. GE. Well, that kind of broke out already. So, okay. Also, it's not a bad look either. Caterpillar, which I know Caterpillar. I know what it looks like already. I know Cat pretty well. just in a consolidation, so not surprised. And then Uber RTX are next. Let's see, Uber. I didn't realize Uber is there, but okay, cool. Not interested. RTX, how we doing? Oh yeah, just kind of grinding up. Cool. UNP and then Honeywell. No. Honeywell. Ooh, Honeywell looks pretty good. LMT, ETN, I don't know what that is. ETN. Eaton. Lockheed Martin. Ooh, Lockheed Martin looks good, too. Could make the argument that there was a setup here, and now it's like, okay, here. So, yeah, Lockheed could be good, but they have earnings super soon, next week, actually. So, look at that. Massive, massive, massive move from the breakout back in here. Look at that. Holy shit. That must have been off earnings, right? Yeah, it was. The earnings started that move. Huge move. ADP and then D. Yeah, those charts look okay. They're fine. Look similar. Nothing crazy. I might have to leave a few minutes early before the close because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have a sourdough in the oven right now, and I just don't want it to burn. Once the sourdough honestly takes priority. It takes priority, unfortunately, for the stream. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The war is all that stuff, and like not to, you can read into it, right, and say, well, it depends upon the arguments you want to make, but you can read into the arguments about one side, election-wise, being more favorable for war, one side maybe not potentially. And then how does it actually play out? Who knows? You know what I mean? But I'm sure you can make, people can say, well, because all the aerospace stocks are doing really, really well, that means that, you can make arguments both sides. You can say, this is why just narratives and people and opinions, it's funny. And really, you could say, well, the Democrats, well, they want war and they want to spend more money and they want to use war to send these bills and money to other countries and then funnel in other shit and then fund these, whatever. Fund big corporations that will prey off wars that are not necessary. Then you can make the argument that, well, no, if Trump was to win, that is not good because he's going to start a whole world war. And then some will say, no, it's the opposite. It's funny how you can make a million arguments in both ways for all that stuff. But I don't know. That's why I just don't like playing into that shit. It's like not really that relevant in the grand scheme. So the question is going to be, at least for me, does BTC pump this weekend? Yes, no. If so, cool. If no, cool. I think we got potential, but we'll see what happens. My Penn State is not playing this weekend. I love that one. You don't have to worry about your team playing. They had me sweating it out last weekend. Although I don't give a shit as much, to be honest, as I used to. I used to care so much about about school teams and stuff. And I was like, Eagles are playing at 1 p.m. on Sunday. That should be fun. Eagles Giants. So we'll be waiting on, we'll have hopefully an interesting weekend in the Bitcoin space. I think I don't know. I'm not super plugged into, how crazy that is right now, to be honest with you. So, I just haven't been following like that closely with all this stuff. So are people saying, oh, we're hot? Like, are we ready to go? Or are people kind of skeptical? Is it a quiet breakout? Is it a, loud breakout? I don't think it's super loud, but that's kind of my, what's going on there. Kansas City plays San Francisco on Sunday. That should be a good one. At San Francisco. Massive college games too. I like college so much more. College is so much more exciting than the NFL. We have a minute until my timer is about to go off here. 1 minute. Silver is going to close seemingly. Well, of course, technically it trades a bit longer, I think, or it goes another hour. Closes at 5 p.m. Eastern time, not 4. But I'm up $2 on silver as it is now, and I'm down 17.57 on Bitcoin as of right now. Now the spreads are a lot bigger on that on Bitcoin, which is also part of the game too. So the spreads are a little bit wider, so it's maybe looking as if I'm down more than I really am based on where I entered. But with that said, I think I'm going to wrap things up a few minutes early because I got to get that bread out the oven, and also a couple things I got to get done before the weekend, and then we'll honestly I got a lot of shit to do this weekend too. But it's warming back up. It got cold. Now it's warming back up. I'm a fan. We had a couple mornings here in Georgia where it was like in the 30s. I'm like, nah, today and yesterday. Not a huge fan of that. But still got out for my morning walks. Still going to get it in. Felt okay. A little chilly. But I'm seeing next week we're seeing some upper 40s at night and then some lower 50s at night with some mid to upper 70s during the day. That's the type of shit that we like, you know. That's the type of shit we want to see. So I'm good with that. Like fall in the South, you know, 70s by day, 50s, maybe upper 40s by night. Totally fine. Totally fine. Let's run that, you know, deep into November and see how far we can take it. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm dipping. I entered 2 new positions, Bitcoin and silver. We'll see what happens next week. And there's a recap on gold. If you want to see gold's recap, you can go back and watch that from earlier today. And I'll see you next week.